Hi there, this is Jane here. And this is a little bit of a different video, really. This is a video response to Simon at the Hermit's Cave, who has started a hashtag to look at 2020, and it's under the hashtag, I think it's my 2020 vision, but I'll put that down below. So this is a response to that, and it's just a little 5 card spread that looks at what we've learned from this year 2019 and what we might be taking into to 2020, and what opportunities and what there might be for us to learn there. So that's what this little spread is all about. So I'll just turn over the cards and we'll see what we've got. So first card I have is the good old 8 of Swords. Now that talks about 2019, what our lessons might have been in 2018, what we might have learned. This makes complete sense to me, and I don't do an awful lot of self-disclosure on my channel because no one really wants to hear my stuff, I don't think. But I do have some disabilities and a chronic health condition that I manage on a daily basis. And a part of that for me is some pretty severe anxiety. So the 8 of Swords completely makes sense to me. This has been a very difficult year in terms of managing those conditions, managing the stress associated with them, managing the anxiety that goes with having them. And that whole energy has been a difficult one for me this year. So without banging on too much about it, because no one wants to hear about all of that sort of nonsense, the 8 of Swords makes complete sense to me, in that it has been quite a difficult year emotionally and worries and anxiety wise. However, excuse me, I have got through them, and I have really pushed through to be able to kind of look on the other side of that door and see what the scary thing is, and just look at the scary thing and deal with the scary thing. And I've had some good support from friends and family and stuff that have helped me to do that. But I have to take some of that credit for myself, because actually a lot of the things I've had to do this year have been very tough for me, and I have done them. I have got through them. I have gone and had a look behind that door, and it was scary, and still went through because had to, really, didn't have any choice. So that's where I was with 2019. So quite glad to see the back of it, to be honest. This is my card, rather, for the challenges that might come up in 2020. Now, King of Wands is quite a I would say a not unexpected card for me. I'm an Aries, so I am actually a Queen of Wands, but gender doesn't make a lot of difference with these things, because the cards kind of just tend to speak to you in the way that they need to speak to you. It doesn't tend to be very gender specific. Not when I'm looking at it for myself. Quite often when I'm reading for others, it will be quite specific, but when I'm looking for myself, it's just the general energy that it's kind of slapping me around the face with most of the time. And what the King of Wands is all about is this hard work, this work ethic where they really just want to get stuck in, get things done. That makes complete sense to me. When I look at that in terms of a challenge, the challenge for me is that I often don't have the energy to be able to be that King of Wands, and that frustrates me. I want to work hard. I want to do my best. I want to be successful. I want to do the things that I can do in the most successful way possible. And the King of Wands is all about that, it's all about that kind of having that power, having that, to be able to get to that point and just go, yeah, I achieved that. Brilliant. Great big tick. Feels good. that can be a challenge for me because my desire to do it is often not matched by my body's willingness or ability to do it. So that's a challenge for me. So how do we overcome those challenges? That's what this card number 3 is all about. And card number 3, I don't know if you can see that properly, is the Two of Pentacles. So what the Two of Pentacles is saying to me is you can overcome this challenge of wanting to achieve, of needing to press forward. You can overcome that challenge by approaching it with more balance, by juggling things around a little bit, by appreciating that actually sometimes the better thing to do for yourself is not to push too hard and just to have some balance in that. So although the desire is there, sometimes you have to look at the body and listen to the body. If the body's saying you need to balance that out, girl, and allow yourself to rest, because otherwise you're not going to be able to be any kind of King of Wands. So I feel like it's saying to me that the way to overcome those challenges is to be more balanced. Like to think that I'm trying quite hard to get to a balanced position, but you see there again, we're trying too hard. I'm trying hard to get to a balance. I need to just stop trying so hard and allow that balance to happen. This is a lesson I am learning, and it seems like I'm not quite there yet. I thought I was doing quite well with the whole balance shebang, but it seems like there's going to be some more of learning that balance to come for me, which is cool. You know, I can do it, so we'll be all good. So our opportunities for next year, I have the Hermit. So in terms of the Hermit as an opportunity, I would say that the Hermit, I am a bit of a hermit anyway. I do spend quite a lot of time alone. I do spend quite a lot of time going within, but I think I need to find a more positive way of going within. I spend quite a lot of time when I'm going within to look for that inner wisdom, kind of in a beat myself up kind of way, rather than actually just sitting quietly and letting my inner wisdom talk to me honestly and openly. I tend to kind of like, come on, sort it out, you know. Not that that's at all Aries, but you know, that's that's the energy that I tend to push too hard. So I think what the Hermit says is, to me anyway, is to take that time that you spend to just quietly hear your inner voice, rather than searching too deeply for it, pushing too hard to find it, being more relaxed, being able to be in that quiet contemplation, just gently in it, rather than digging and pushing and really kind of hunting too hard for things that actually just come to you easily if you let them flow. So that's my kind of idea of what that might mean as an opportunity. So, and also to have that kind of self-reliance. I'm quite I want to be independent and self-reliant and all of that stuff. I that's important to me. So, you know, maybe the Hermit's show me that I can have that and I can do that this year. So that's all good. The next card's going to be interesting because it's the Knight of Swords, and I know it's the Knight of Swords because it's a different card to my other cards. So I'll tell you the quick story, but I'll really keep it quick. I have several decks of this black and white Faulkner deck because it's the deck I use constantly. I use it when I'm working. I use it every day. I'm working with it a lot of the time. So I have 2 or 3 backup decks. I've got this deck that I'm using now, a very old deck, and I've got a couple of new ones that I'm saving because it's out of print and it won't, as far as I know, it won't be printed again. So it's what I use for my work. I need to have that deck. So I kind of I have a couple still unopened, and I've got this one that I'm using now, and I've got a very old deck. Well, about a month or so ago, 2 months maybe, I noticed that the deck felt a bit weird, and I went through the deck and there was a card missing, and it was the Knight of Swords. So luckily enough, I went to my old deck, found the Knight of Swords, which is why it's so old and battered in comparison to the others. You can hardly see the image. Anyway, so I found my Knight of Swords. It has now a Knight of Swords, not the Knight of Swords. That is still unfound. It's not been out of this flat, so it must be in here somewhere, but I can't find it. So just lately, the Knight of Swords has been stalking me a little bit. It's been my weekly card for the last 2 weeks, and then it has appeared in here. This is the weekly card that I pulled this week. So here we are, Knight of Swords. So the Knight of Swords is on my tail, slapping me around the face, as tarot often does. And so I feel like I'm being asked to embrace some change next year. Positive change, hopefully. It feels positive. I don't feel like I'm looking at scary times. But I just kind of feel like I am going to be asked to be, or to be able to be, much more confident and more direct and clear with what I want to achieve, and being able to go for it more, maybe. Being able to think more clearly about what there is for me to achieve. So that's kind of where I feel like I am with that little spread. I have no idea what's going on with the Knight of Swords. If anybody wants to have an interpretation of what Spirit might be trying to tell me about that by kind of nicking my my Knight of Swords and then giving me Knight of Swords, Knight of Swords, Knight of Swords, Knight of Swords all the time, feel free. I would be delighted to hear an interpretation of that if you have one. But yeah, so that's my little interpretation. Thank you very much, Timon, for suggesting this as a hashtag. I think it's really, really good. As I say, I don't do a lot of self-disclosure, but I've had to do a little bit here. So I haven't tried to sort of dump my whole load out onto you. But that's basically what my reading is saying for 2020. So it'd be exciting and interesting to see how we progress with that through the year. Thanks ever so much for watching. And if you've liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. That would be lovely. And I'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.